one of these we light up and we let our kids swirl them around. Well, these can get up to 2,000 degrees in temperature. That on a little hand is going to burn. That's the most common burn that we're going to see when we look at 4th of July burns is to the hands. But what we're not thinking about is as they're swirling it around, little girls catch it on their hair. Sometimes little boys have long hair too. And that's going to cause a very severe burn once it catches to the scalp. So we want you to be careful of these, not poking them in other kids' faces, things like that. Very careful with the sparklers, even though they're a go-to. What is also important is we're looking at brush fire season. We know we've got over 25 wildland fires burning currently in our state, and this is the #1 day of the year for brush fires to be started. 49% of the fires in 2019 were started on the 4th of July. 49% of 19,500 fires, let that sink in, started on 4th of July itself. So we really want to encourage people, if you're going to use fireworks, do it in a very safe place, do it around water, and more importantly, when you're ready to put them out, don't throw them in the trash can. What we see is people throw them in the trash can, they go to bed, and the trash cans heat up, they catch fire, they light the house on fire, and then we lose the house. Instead of doing that, we want you to take the fireworks and dunk them completely in a water bucket. Make sure you're immersing them all the way. So once you've lit it, put them all the way in the bucket, leave them there overnight before you dispose of them. That's going to keep you from catching your house on fire, catching your garbage can on fire, and of course having any injuries due to the fireworks. Lastly, we'd like to just say, instead of maybe having fireworks at home, think about going to a local show. We do have one in Glendale at Westgate, starts at 9 p.m. on Sunday. And when you're putting off fireworks, think about your pets and think about vets. They're both very vulnerable populations to the loud noise, and it can set off some bad reactions. We don't want to see anybody lose a pet, and we certainly don't want to kick up some PTSD for veterans. Now I'm going to pass it to Sergeant Randy Scott with Glendale PD.
Morning, how you doing? Good, thanks. So it's Sergeant Randy Stewart, R-A-N-D-Y, S-T-E-W-A-R-T. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Just like Captain Losh said, we want to make sure everybody has a safe 4th of July weekend. So I just want to cover some things that we will be doing. Obviously, we do have fireworks laws in place, right? So the City of Glendale does have certain city codes specific to fireworks. Some of the things to keep in mind, hour restrictions. So at 12:30 at night, 12:30 a.m., 7 a.m., we do have city restrictions for fireworks within those times for 4th of July weekend. So make sure that at a certain point in time that we're cutting out the fireworks so people can sleep, have some peace at night. Some of the fireworks we want to talk about as far as what is legal, prohibited, what is not prohibited. Kind of a rule of thumb, if it's shooting in the air, those are things that are going to be prohibited. So things that are loud explosive, like your firecrackers, M80s, those again are prohibited type fireworks. So the ones that are allowed, that are permitted, are going to be more of your sparklers. In 4th of July weekend, you have your spinners, the wheels that are on the side that spin around. So those type fireworks are permitted. And then you also have the smoke ones, the cylinder type ones that sparkle. Again, those are permitted. So a lot of the smoke ones, the ones that sparkle in some way, those are going to be your ones mainly prohibited. And the ones that, again, she talked about that you could buy at the local grocery store, those are the ones that you should be buying. If they're shooting up the air, just keep that in mind. The other thing I want to talk about, though, that's very important as far as safety is celebratory gunfire. It's a problem every year. A lot of us know of Shannon's Law, right? Shannon Smith in 1999, young girl that was tragically killed by gunfire. Make sure everybody's aware that when you shoot up in the air, those bullets, they come down, and they are very dangerous, and we've seen this tragic results in the past. As far as in the last week, we know in the valley that a young girl was killed from a stray bullet. So it's very important to think about celebratory gunfire. This is something that we don't want to see anybody doing. As far as enforcement, we are going to have additional enforcement out this weekend for that reason on 4th of July. We will have our gun violence detectives will be out, and some of the things that they're going to be using is our shot spotter system to detect those. Anybody who's not aware of, Glendale has a shot spotter system that triangulates the noise of gunfire. It can actually detect gunfire from fireworks, and it pinpoints the location within a few feet of accuracy. So as soon as that goes off, our dispatch is notified of that. We can send officers out to the scene and locate where that incident had occurred. Now, it does two things for us. In the past, we've been able to, one of the things, the benefit I should say, is that we've been able to actually respond to shootings before a call for service came in because of ShotSpotter. Right, ShotSpotter detects it, our officers are already en route to that call when we start getting information that an actual shooting occurred. So it's been very, very beneficial for the city. The other thing that we do with ShotSpotter is that we can locate the shell casings, and just like fingerprints, shell casing has that fingerprint on it. So we can locate, and sometimes we've been able to do that, to use that as evidence and put crimes together from different types of shootings and so forth that have happened. So we do have the ShotSpotter system that we have available. We will be using that. Our gun violence detectives will be out collecting those shell casings, investigating those shootings, and then we'll also have additional staff out doing the investigations for fireworks. So a couple of things that I didn't mention, I just want to bring up: the fines in the city of Glendale. It could be up to a $1,500 fine for your first offense and $2,000 for a second offense for fireworks. So keep that in mind, those fines can be stiff. Just make sure you use the appropriate fireworks when you're celebrating this 4th of July. And that's all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Can you just talk about the ShotSpotter? I know you guys are probably one of the first in the valley to use it. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we were the first one in the valley to use it. I believe we're still the only ones that have it. We've had it for, I think, nearly 20 years, about 19 years that we've had the system in place. There are several detection devices throughout the city. Those detection devices will detect gunfire, the sound of gunfire, and then it triangulates between the different sensors where that is coming from. And that's how it pinpoints where the fire or where the shots are being fired at. And like you said, we've been able to use that several times to get to an actual shooting before we got calls for service, or to locate items of evidence of random gunfire, or it could be a shooting that somebody didn't witness or anything like that.
Can you talk a little bit about the prohibited fireworks and what possible fines citizens will face?
Yeah, so the prohibited fireworks are going to be like your Roman candles or your fireballs that actually shoot up in the air and explode, bottle rockets. So again, try to think of anything that shoots up in the air that actually explodes. Those are going to be prohibited, and that's where you get that fine of up to $1,500 for a first offense, and then up to $2,000 on a second offense for that.
Now that's in the city of Glendale, right?
Yes, that's in the city of Glendale. That's through some of our city codes. There are also state laws that are, you know, that other places could use, but certain cities do have city codes specific for that.
And can you talk about some of the dangers of those fireworks, in particular these illegal ones?
Yeah, and actually, Captain Walsh would rather her cover that
Sure.
since she's.
Absolutely. So obviously the injuries are the biggest thing that we worry about when it comes to the prohibited fireworks. People don't know how to handle them typically. They're a little more than they can handle. They're going to explode in your face when you're not prepared for it. Sometimes they're not set off in a proper place, and then they catch your house on fire. People have even lit them inside their homes. That's obviously not a good idea. You never want to create some sort of fire within a home. But what we see typically are, like I said, are the burn injuries due to fireworks. So hands and fingers being the biggest amount of injuries. 28% of the injuries that we see are on the hands, but that's quickly followed by legs and face. So you can imagine a little child getting too close to the firework, it goes off and catches in their face. That's a tragedy that we want to avoid. In 2019, we had 10,000 people go to the hospital due to firework injuries. 10,000, that's a lot.
I have a request. You did a little demo with
Yeah.
putting the fireworks in the field of water.
Sure.
You were kind of off mic for that.
Oh, sorry.
I'm wondering if you could just describe that, and then we can kind of set it up.
Absolutely. So, well, what I was discussing is when you are going to discard your fireworks, we want to make sure you're doing it properly. Once you're done having your fun, make sure you have a bucket ready full of water. Place those fireworks all the way in the water so that it's completely immersed. You don't want to leave anything sitting out because that bucket is plastic and it will get warm. Leave it in the bucket overnight to stay wet before you discard it into any kind of trash receptacle. One other thing I'd like to mention is as opposed to maybe using a firework, they are selling these confettis this year at the grocery stores, and these can be a fun alternative to a firework and a lot safer. They also have silly string, there's glow sticks, there's all kinds of alternatives that are happening this year that will be safer just for everybody and for your neighbors, so you don't catch their houses on fire. Yeah, I'm happy to set it off if you guys would like it. Yes. Let's see how we do it. Twist. Hold firm, twist from the bottom. You ready for this? It's pretty fun. There you go. Any other questions? Anything else? Go Suns! Suns in 6. Suns in 6. I think we're good unless y'all have something else. Yes. Yes. And Miss Tiffany's here for that if you guys want that.
All right, and get some color in your display tonight.
Enjoy.